What's up, guys? This is going to be a continuation of the series of my Eastern Washington disc golf trip. We're going to be watching me play through Two Rivers Park in Kennewick, Washington. Hole 1, unfortunately, some technical difficulties, missed my drive. I threw my green flippy Wraith on a backhand turnover and ended up leaving it short because of that low ceiling. But we'll move on from there. Yeah, a very fun way to start the round with a nice miss. Didn't get any warm-up putting, so we'll just throw that as an excuse out there. But off the rip, starting off at 2 over par and stepping up to hole 2. I thought this was going to be a rough day with some of these longer holes, and hoping for some birdies later on in the round, trying to fight my way back to par, maybe even a little under par, but we'll see how that goes. As you're seeing a little bit here already, there are sprinklers out on the course, especially during the summer. As we were visiting in July, it was burning hot, where we were pushing almost 40 degrees Celsius every day we were there, and we tried getting out in the early mornings to avoid that heat, but even then you'd notice it would start getting really warm during the rounds. So those sprinklers are keeping the grass nice and cool, and you just try time your throws to avoid getting wet unless you want to cool off a little bit. Hole 4, very cool hole. We're throwing at the Columbia River. It's coming at just over 300 feet. I remember specifically this shot felt really good, especially after that rough start. Just try to be smooth with my sidearm, throwing my go-to Wraith at the moment. This Garrett Gurthie, the Nathan Queen Color Glow Wraith, and end up parking the hole. Hole 5, here we were passing another group, so I was a little bit rushed and didn't get to see where the basket was actually. I was just told it was a sidearm flex shot, so I threw a sidearm flex shot. Didn't turn it over as much as I would have wanted, but fortunately for me, that meant that I stayed even closer to the basket and managed to convert the birdie putt. Moving on to hole 6. Hole 6 was a very daunting par 5 with a double Mando right off the tee. At this point, I'm feeling confident after 2 birdies in a row, so I grabbed that same Wraith. I remember specifically I ended up hitting my peck on this throw, and that just threw me way off, and I missed the double Mando. And after that throw, rushed a little bit, threw it straight into ground from the drop zone. At this point, I'm just trying to compose myself as I'm trying to pitch through the middle section of this par 5 where there's tons of trees to avoid. Now we're getting towards the back third of the hole where I'm trying to place a backhand turnover and hopefully give myself a putt, but didn't really turn it over. So just left pitching up for what I believe is a double bogey. Unfortunate, but not a bad recovery. Could have been a lot worse considering the start to the hole. Hole 7, a good hole to redeem yourself on. A short putter shot. I'm throwing a really beat up shield here. Just try throwing it on a little bit of hyzer, have it drift off to the right. Very cool shot shape. Very happy with that. And give myself a look. Moving on to hole 8. Hole 8 plays a very similar shot shape to hole 7, just longer, so I disc up to mid. That would do a similar thing. And end up pulling this a little off to the right side. And this time I did go in a little bit into that bush line, leaving myself with this pitch up. Not too much to contend with, fortunately. just park the basket, pick it up, and move on to the next hole. Hole 9 is a par 4 coming in at 577 feet, 176 meters. Very cool hole shape where you have that bush line to contend with the whole time on the right side. I end up tickling a little bit of those branches, but staying in a great spot, keeping that gap open. Here I opted for a sidearm flex shot, trying to throw that vault again. Never really got over on it as much as I'd liked and kind of leaked into the bushes late. Got really lucky with my spot though, that I didn't actually have any branches to contend with. I just had some awkward footing, and that really threw me off on my putt, so didn't feel confident there. Moving on to the back 9, we start off with hole 10 coming in at 349 feet, 106 meters. Pretty simple flat to hyzer. There is a Mando right just to avoid going over that parking lot and ideally protecting the cars there. I threw it a little bit low, not really giving myself a chance. Nothing too special left. Just some routine, or what should be routine upshots for me. Hole 11, unfortunately some technical difficulties again, so I didn't catch the second half of my drive here. A low ceiling sidearm, just try to push it straight. You could also throw a backhand, but the mistake would definitely be trying to go too far right. You can bail out to the right if need be, which is what I was trying to do, but messed up the drive. Hole 12, 203 feet, 62 meter. A very simple backhand hyzer. There is a tight gap that you do have to hit, and I end up yanking it over to the right. Fortunately, made it through the tree somehow, and left myself with pin high, way off to the right, just pitching up at the basket. No trees to contend with. Pick it up and move on. Hole 13. Similar hole as the last hole, slightly longer and then reversed for a sidearm. I'm throwing my Justice here. Very happy with how that came out of my hand, hit the line perfectly, leaving myself with what should be another routine putt somewhere in the middle of circle 1. And I don't know what happened there, but fortunately missed that birdie putt. Being where I am score-wise, I really wanted to convert that. Maybe put a little bit too much pressure on myself. And hole 14, 275 feet, 84 meters. So much space out to the right. And then I choose not to use it for some reason. I ended up throwing it straight into the trees, which shouldn't even be in the way that much, just for a righty backhand hyzer. Had some awkward footing, so I tried throwing the standstill sidearm, which didn't work out too great. Left myself somewhere in circle 2 with a long putt, trying to float it there. Gave it a decent effort looking at it now, but obviously in the moment a little frustrated at how I managed to bogey what seemed like such a simple hole. Hole 15, another really cool par 4 where we have these railroad tracks that act as the OB line off to the left, and then a road on top of it. I'm just trying to throw my Wraith, just something straight, trying to minimize any left to right movement, and try to get some good distance off the tee, but left it a little bit low. Still in position to try play for that birdie, but again trying to avoid that OB left side, so I went with something even more unstable, but never really connected on it. Try to get that right movement to get me all the way up to the basket, which leaves me with a routine upshot that I did not make very routine, which left me with a tester for par. Fortunately, no more extra strokes there. Hole 16, 323 feet, 98 meters. Clear backhand hyzer gap off the tee. I chose to go one gap to the left of that, a little bit more direct line, as I didn't think I had the power at that moment in time to reach the basket through the right side gap. And did exactly what I wanted, hit the initial gap, and risk reward pays off here as I walk away with a birdie. Hole 17 plays a very similar shape to the previous hole minus the initial trees. Not much to worry about. Open space, left, right, do whatever you're comfortable with. And I decide to throw my hyzer wraith straight at the basket and then end up to the left. Really wanted to hang that out further right, but didn't commit to it at all. Connected on metal, at least on the birdie. Looked so happy there, but never really dropped. And then tap that in for an easy par, which leaves me with one more chance to claw my way back up to an even par. Hole 18, 184 feet, 56 meters. A couple of trees to contend with. The basket's tucked away behind the two big trees that you can see center of your screen. As I throw my harp, nail the back tree, hit my aiming point perfectly. A little bit of a roll away there. Leaving myself with just outside of circle 1 putt for birdie. Had to do a double take to make sure it stayed in, which brought me to an even par 58. If you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.